FBI Director Christopher Wray today stating the obvious, finally admitting the FBI has been too slow in responding to the request for documents related to the Clinton email probe and FISA court abuses. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Goodluck subpoenaed the Justice Department last Thursday, seeking 1.2 million documents. He's received only 3,000 of 1.2 million documents so far. Wray's remedy: he is now pledging to double the number of FBI staffers to 54 to expedite fulfilling the request. A new Justice Department Inspector General's report concluding that the FBI botched its initial effort to unlock the San Bernardino terrorist's iPhone. Former FBI Director James Comey told Congress back in 2016 the agency couldn't access that phone and would need help from Apple. It was not, as the IG put it, factually correct. According to that report, a unit in the FBI's Operational Technology Division did have the ability to access the data. We know not what FBI Director James Comey, since fired, had on his mind. Our next guest says the Inspector General's report confirms his worst suspicions about the culture of cover-ups at the embattled Justice Department and FBI. Joining us tonight, Chris Farrell, Director of Investigations and Research for Judicial Watch. Good to have you with us.
Hey, Lou.
What was Comey thinking?
There's another agenda going on here, and I think the larger story was the FBI seeking to get into every cell phone. I mean, why in the world would the FBI director come out nationally or internationally, publicly, and reveal to the world that they have a vulnerability, that they've got an intelligence gap that they're not able to crack, and that they would then run to court and make false statements while at the same time publicly shaming Apple? This is the weirdest event in investigative history in the last, I don't know, maybe 5-10 years. Why in the world would Comey even do that? And today's report just goes to show you what I talk about all the time. You know, these IGs, they're where the truth goes to die. That thing is written in the worst double talk. You have to parse every sentence in it to find out that really, in the end, the FBI knew that they could get into the phone. They lied about it. They went public with it for some weird reason, lied in front of Congress about it, lied to a court. The whole thing makes zero sense, but they put out a publication trying to put a smiley face on it. It's garbage.
Yeah, well, it's garbage, and it's such garbage, I have to tell you, it's unintelligible garbage.
Correct.
I couldn't go beyond the first page. I mean, I'd have that was it for me. But you raise an interesting point. Comey carrying out a disinformation campaign.
Indeed.
Using Congress, using the American people as stage props. That's appalling.
I mean, just think about it. The FBI director gets out and has a press conference or has a public event where he's speaking and says, hey, gee, we can't get into iPhones. Well, first of all, if that was true, why would he ever make that statement public and reveal that sort of an intelligence gap? And secondly, he knew, or had to have known, or had reason to know, that his technical people were perfectly capable of getting into it. And if they weren't, guess who would be? The NSA. So you do a request for assistance to a sister agency and say, look, we need to get into this. We've got dead Americans killed by savage terrorists, and we're not going to play patty cake and talk about what we might be able to do. We need to find out who these killers are and go after them.
Chris, let's turn to another instance of what seems to be some form of, as you put it, patty cake on the part of the agency. The father of the Pulse nightclub killer,
right.
Omar Mateen, turns out was a decade-long FBI informant. What in the world was going on that they didn't know what he was up to, what his proximate family was up to?
Well, and to make matters worse, we obtained through our Judicial Watch FOIA litigation records and documents from the sheriff's office down there where the Pulse nightclub shooting took place that showed in 2013 the FBI was frantically telling the sheriff's office that Mateen was not, and they used capital letters, not a terrorist. So obviously there's this sort of guilty knowledge because of this association with the father, who evidently was a confidential informant reporting on activities both in the community and ties back to Pakistan. there's something else
We're
going
showing
on.
over your shoulder pictures 2 months after the shooting at the Pulse nightclub. Mateen's father, about 3 or 4 seats behind Hillary Clinton at a campaign event that year.
And one wonders if that was a directed, tasked participation on behalf of the FBI. Who knows?
Who knows indeed. Well, if you don't, Chris Farrell, what we've learned is we soon will in nearly every instance.
I'll find out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Let's turn to the Department of Justice. Devin Nunes, House Intel Committee Chairman, saying that he gives it about 2 weeks for the DOJ to produce those documents requested by Judiciary and Oversight, 1.2 million. Then we learn that they've gotten a whole 3,000 already. 3,000 documents out of 1.2, and then comes this, what I consider, well, I'll clean up the language, a smart aleck response from Christopher Wray saying he'll double the number of agents involved from 27 to 54.
Well, you know, Mr. Nunes, Mr. Goodlatch should go back to the FBI and tell them that they should pretend that they're getting ready for a press conference, one of their self-serving publicity stunts, and then Mr. Wray would apply the required assets to clear all those records by about lunchtime tomorrow. They need to impeach lesser officers. You know, impeachment is not just for the president. Impeachment is for people who are constitutional officers who are subject to congressional oversight. And if they keep getting told drop dead, whatever the language may be, that's the end result, then they need to impeach these people, because unfortunately they don't have prosecutorial powers, of course. They can't indict them or try them, but they can hold a political trial, and that's called an impeachment.
Right.
And these constitutional officers need to be held to account that way.
All right. Good counsel to the House. Thanks so much, Chris. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Luke.
As always. Chris Farrell, Judicial Watch.